toxic masculinity.
New York Times reporter blames Trump for the media cover-up of COVID's origin. Yeah, this is pretty fascinating. This is the convoluted logic of the left. These guys are actually able to somehow make the case. They really think that they can justifiably make the case that Donald Trump is the cause of the media cover-up of COVID. These people are insane. I'm going to play for you the video here, but her argument, this woman's argument essentially boils down to, well, we don't like Trump, and Trump made us think that, well, maybe the origin was from the lab, or, you know, he was trying to express that idea, and because Trump was expressing that idea and we didn't like him, I mean, it just made it so hard to know. You know, we just all thought that it couldn't possibly be because Trump suggested it. You know, of course, he doesn't exactly say that. You kind of have to read between the lines, but essentially that's what happened, right? Trump was like, yeah, you know, I think this might be from the lab, and they all went, oh, Trump's an idiot. Trump's an evil conspiracy theorist. Can't possibly be true. The journalistic standards with regard to this story, and I would also like to say most stories about politics, you know, among these leftist journalists, it's just gone. It's out the window. There is no journalistic standards anymore. The journalistic standard for the last 4 years is whatever Trump says, we're going to say is wrong. That was the journalistic standard. That's not real journalistic standards, ladies and gentlemen. That's crap, right? That's just crap. So we didn't have any really good news organizations, at least not on the left, to be able to inform the public, because it was just anti-Trump, 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 and a lot of people got misinformation because of it. And this is just one of those cases. To me, the most... Oh, and this is a little bit of a tip. I'll give you guys a little tip that I heard from a little birdie. I think the most severe case of journalistic malpractice is when they keep saying that any kind of suspicion about potentially... you know, the election not being perfect and pure and honest and fair and just and right and everything. Anybody who suspects that there might be something fishy going on there, well, it's the big lie. It's the big lie. And we talked about this before on the show, but it's not a lie. If I believe it, I may be wrong, but I'm not lying. If I tell you something that I believe to be true, even if I'm wrong, I'm not lying about that thing, right? And we could be wrong. I mean, the election could be fair and perfect and pure. I don't think it is. I don't think anybody on the right thinks it is. I think most people on the left don't even think that it is. But even if it were, saying I don't think that it is, that's not lying. And anyway, I'm not espousing, I know for a fact, absolutely 100%, I have the proof and I can show it to you. What I'm saying is, I strongly suspect that this was not a perfect election. And so for these people to go, that's a big lie. No, it really isn't. You obviously clearly don't know what the definition of a lie is, or you don't care what the definition of a lie is, and you'll just say whatever you want. So that to me is the most ridiculous reporting that I've seen so far. But let me tell you something, guys. I had a little conversation with a good friend of mine who is intimately involved with some of the people that are doing the audit in Arizona. And I'm probably not supposed to repeat this, but I will, just for you guys, because I don't have a very big audience. It looks like we've got enough evidence to completely expose the corruption, at least in Arizona. So it looks like this is going to be the first of many dominoes. And I've been given some specifics about how some of the fraud was conducted. And guys, it looks like they really do have solid evidence to indicate that, in fact, there was absolutely fraud, and they can show it. And a lot of what I'm hearing now from other sources, this wasn't from this original sources, what I'm about to tell you is from Steve Bannon. Yeah, so on Bannon's show, if you ever watched Bannon's stuff, his position is that the thing that's really going to make clear the election fraud is the hand counts, the hand counting. So if you go in and you have human beings going in and hand counting the ballots, it's going to show massive discrepancies between that and what was counted on the machines in the the original count during the election, and that's what's really going to do it. And I think that might be true. I mean, we're going to have to find out. But I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways that the fraud was conducted. If there was fraud, not saying that there was YouTube, I think it was perfect and pure, and Biden definitely won, guys. But if in magical world on the planet of Turth there was some kind of suspicious stuff going on, then certainly the audit has caught it, and that's the word on the street. That's the word on the street. So if I turn out to be wrong about that, and there's not the evidence that I suspect that there is, well, then I know that source shouldn't be trusted again. But my sources are really, really confident that, yeah, they've got them. So I'm excited by that. I'm very excited by that. But anyway, let's watch this video of this psychopathic reporter blaming Trump. So this should be exciting. Let's see here. Headphones on. Let's just watch the video. I think that's the best way forward. Yes.
This matters. Understanding where coronavirus and how the pandemic began matters. A lot of the discussion about the lab leak, I think, was clouded early on because there was the suggestion by some that it was somehow a Chinese weapon that caused this. That's not what we're talking about here.
Okay, I would just like to interject here for one moment and say that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Just because some people were saying that the virus could have been weaponized and that was a possibility. This guy is trying to suggest right now, by the way, which is an absolute BS revision of history. He's trying to suggest that the reason that the mainstream media never believed that this virus came out of a lab was because the only speculation going on about the lab theory was that it was a biological weapon. No, that's absolutely not true. That's completely false. This is what you call gaslighting, right? This is rewriting history. This is not what happened. Some people definitely said that it was possibly some kind of biological weapon that they were trying to develop. And that still actually might be true. That actually might be true. He doesn't know one way or another whether that's true or not. But there were several suggestions. One of them, which was, I think, being proposed more by people on the fringes, people who, certainly conservatives, but people who were simply playing with ideas, speculating this might be true, that might be true. There were very few people who were like, I'm absolutely 100% convinced that this is a biological weapon. In fact, I never heard anyone say that. I heard that as a suggestion that perhaps that was true. It still might be true. But what most people were saying was that this looks like it came from a lab, and it looks like it was an accident, like it was released by accident. Some people were even suggesting that the virus was released on purpose by the Chinese government. But I was there. I was reporting on this every day. I was doing the research. I was reading the articles. I was watching the videos. I was listening to everybody and what they had to say. And the vast majority of conservatives were saying this came from the lab, and we don't know exactly how it came from the lab. We don't know if it was human engineered. We don't know if there was some kind of gain of function engineering going on, or if it was simply a natural virus that they were studying in the lab and it got out and it infected some of the scientists. But we certainly suspected that it wasn't coming from the Wuhan wet market, right? We had kind of realized that was actually BS. And it was weird because conservative media was expressing this sort of, we don't know where it came from, we think it came from the lab, speculation, theorizing, talking about it, admitting we didn't know where it came from. And it was places like flipping CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times and these a-holes going around saying, oh no, we know that it didn't come from the lab. We know that it came from this wet market. We know. It's like, no, you flipping don't know. What the hell are you talking about? So this guy's trying to suggest that, oh, well, the reason they didn't believe it is because we're feeding him only this one conspiracy theory that it was a weapon, right? No, that's not what happened. I certainly never said on my show that it was a weapon. I said, we think it may have come from this Wuhan lab. We don't know what happened. We don't know if it's, some kind of biological weapon. We don't know if there was some kind of gain of function research going on, that, some kind of human engineering going on there that made it specifically like increase the virulence for human beings. We don't know if it was just a natural virus that they were studying that got out. We don't know. We don't know, right? We didn't know at the time. Now it looks like almost for sure it came from the lab. So now these idiots are trying to catch up, and they're trying to justify the fact that they were totally flipping wrong. In fact, Vox magazine, well, it used to be, I don't know if it was ever actually a magazine, but online, Vox, VOX, they came out recently and they're like secretly quiet. I mean, it's out in the news right now, but they secretly quietly went back to their articles where they said, oh, this, there's no way that this came from a lab. These right-wingers, they're all conspiracy theorists. They're going in right now and they're changing the articles. They're deleting lines from the articles. They're rewriting it in a way that makes them sound more reasonable. They're going back and changing history. They're pretending like, oh, we never said this. You did say it, Vox. We have the evidence. There's people posting the before and after. They're posting what was originally posted, and then they're posting beside it what is now posted, right? So they're showing the changes, and we can see that Vox is just lying. Oh, look, no, nobody look at this. This is what we said. Ha, 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 ha. They're changing it all, because these people, they're humiliated as well. They should be humiliated, but also they need to own up. This piece of garbage should be sitting there on CNN going, guys, we were wrong. You know who was right? Conservatives. Breitbart was right. Bannon was right. All these people that we hate, Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, the people that we said were kooks, people said we were conspiracy theorists. They should be going on their news channel right now and going, you know who was right? Mr. Reagan. Mr. Reagan was right. They don't know who I am. Oh, you know who does know who I am? Actually, some of them do know who I am because I'm blocked by some of these a-holes. They block me on their Twitter because, I'm a dangerous conservative. It's so ridiculous. The stuff that we report on the right, it's 100% true. We vet it, we make sure it's right, and if we find out later it's wrong, we tell you, we're sorry, we messed up, this is wrong. Because we have a genuine, at least all the conservatives that I know in the media, we all have a genuine desire to express the truth to the public. These people at Fox don't. These people are, sorry, not Fox. Well, some of the people at Fox don't, but most of the people at Fox are actually all right, I think. Especially Tucker. Tucker's the good guy. But these people at CNN, they're full of crap, man. They're pretending like, oh, we're real news. We're real news. All they do is perpetuate these conspiracy theories and BS, and then they point to us and say, we're the conspiracy theorists. No, you guys are the ones getting it wrong. You guys are the ones getting it wrong. All right, let's keep playing this crap.
Talking about a lab accident, but we've come a long way from people dismissing this as a conspiracy theory to a lot of people taking this seriously, Maggie.
We have, John.
What do you mean you've come a long way? To a lot of people dismissing it as a conspiracy theory. You mean yourself? Come on.
Look, I do think it's important to remember that part of the issue when this was first being reported on and discussed back a few months after the pandemic had begun was that then President Trump and Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, both suggested they had seen evidence that this was formed in a lab, and they also suggested it was not released on purpose, but they refused to release the evidence showing.
Wait, what? You mean Donald Trump refused to hand over to the press confidential reports? I don't believe it. A president actually keeping confidential intelligence reports? That's crazy. Oh my gosh, what a horrible person that Donald Trump is for not releasing confidential reports to the media, not leaking crap like you guys expect your friends in Washington, D.C. to do. I mean, can you believe this woman? She's trying to suggest that because Donald Trump didn't... So essentially she's saying, well, look, Donald Trump said this, and because we hate Donald Trump, of course we're not going to believe it. And he didn't give us a report, so we just assumed he was lying. I mean, it's unbelievable how she is completely lacking any kind of self-awareness. She's sitting here trying to say, Trump told us that this came from the lab, and we didn't believe him because he didn't show us the evidence. Well, what the hell are you talking? It's the President of the United States, you stupid woman. He doesn't have to show you the evidence. He has to tell you, I've seen the evidence. It came from the lab. Believe me. And you should have believed him. You didn't believe him. And now you're sitting here looking like a damn fool on CNN trying to pretend that it's Trump's fault that you didn't report this correctly. Grow the F up. Get a couple of... I mean, honestly, have a little bit of effing integrity, stand there and say you're wrong and take it. Sorry, I'm pissed off about this because I do the same thing and I'm accused of being a conspiracy theorist. You know, all my content is being totally suppressed because I'm supposed to be dangerous when these are the idiots who are going out there lying to everybody. Why do I suffer? Why do I have to have a reduced income because YouTube doesn't want to share my videos because whether they want to boost CNN, who just lies to everybody all the time? Give me a freaking break. All right, let's keep watching this crap.
What it was. And so because of that, that made this instantly political. I think that it was, example 1000, when the Trump administration learned that when you have burned your own credibility over and over again, people are not immediately going to believe you.
No. Trump did not burn his credibility. You did not give him the benefit of the doubt about anything he said from day one. He did not burn his credibility. You just dismissed him constantly. If Trump would tell you anything, it's, there's very few things I ever heard Trump say that I could look at what the media was doing, saying, oh, no, Trump's wrong about this, Trump's wrong about this. And I could look into it and say, oh, yeah, Trump's totally wrong. Yeah, the media is totally right. No. Every single time I would look into something, save for like a couple of instances, Trump turned out to be totally right, totally vindicated, like every single time. But I wouldn't say every single time because there were like a few things that Trump would say, the media would fact check him, and I'd find that what he said is wrong. But these were all sort of like innocent mistakes that like basically anyone could make, or they were things that, Trump maybe didn't word something quite correctly, so it seemed like what he was saying was one thing when actually he was saying something else, so it's very easily misinterpreted, something like that. There's a few times Trump would get his facts jumbled, or he would exaggerate about something, or he'd get something a little bit wrong. But that was incredibly rare, right? That was totally the exception. 99.9% of the time, Trump was spot on with everything that he was saying. He never burned his credibility, a friggin' idiot. She just never gave him. These people were constantly trying to frame Trump as being wrong. But that's not burning credibility. That's just you hating him. That's Trump derangement syndrome. Moving on.
Especially in an election year. However, that does not mean it's not worth discussing. There has been a sort of persistent, albeit relatively quiet, focus on whether that was the origin of the virus, and it is compounded by the fact that have not been clear answers from Chinese officials about.
Among conservatives, there's been discussion about where that could potentially be where the virus came from. You guys just dismissed that as a conspiracy theory. These people aren't owning up to anything. They're pretending that the whole time, well, no, the whole time we actually were considering it. No, you weren't. You were pointing at us and calling us idiots, liars, conspiracy theorists, trying to... See, this is the point. She's sitting here saying that Trump burned his credibility. No, he didn't. None of us did. None of us burned our credibility. We totally have total credibility. And you were sitting there pointing your finger at us, trying to say we're conspiracy theorists. That was what burned our credibility amongst, many of the population of the United States of America. Because a lot of these voters are like watching you guys reading the New York Times, going, those idiot Republicans, those stupid conservatives, they're so dumb. They believe these conspiracy theories. Ha. That's what burns our credibility. It's you idiots. You're burning our credibility. We're not doing it. You're doing it.
About it, and that investigators trying to find out the origin have been stymied. So I do think we're in a different period of this, John, but I also think it's important to remember because I think it's getting reframed in a way that's just not true to what happened.
Oh yeah, now this is rich. This is rich. As they try to frame what happened historically, she says conservatives are trying to reframe this as somehow we were wrong. You were wrong. We're not trying to reframe it. You're trying to reframe it right now, and in the midst of doing that, she says conservatives are trying to reframe it. Sure. I mean, honestly, how does this woman even still have a job? She has absolutely she is burning her credibility right now. She burned her credibility before, and she's doubling down on it now. And the New York Times is still keeping her on. Like, what the hell? Get rid of this stupid idiot. She's not helping your credibility as a newspaper. She's just making you look like a fool. Don't hire idiots. Get rid of her. She's just a hack for the left.
Happened. I don't mean here. I mean in this broader debate by Trump supporters about what happened when this was originally raised.
I think a lot of people want just answers at this point, and it is important.
Right. That's right.
Now people want answers. No. People have always wanted answers. And you know what you did? You pretended that the people who had the answers were crazy. were conspiracy theorists. You pretended that you knew exactly where the virus came from. When, I don't know, these people just piss me off so much. Like, they have this smug attitude, like they're always right about everything. They're almost never right about it. It's sort of like AOC, right? AOC always comes out and she presents these ideas and these facts and these statistics that are often totally wrong, but she presents them as if she's got the moral high ground. It's like, yeah, maybe you would have the moral high ground if you got your facts straight. Like, for crying out loud. I mean, she has so much confidence and she has so little education. She just doesn't know even what she's so unbelievably ignorant, but she speaks as though she has like the wisdom of gods, Oh, I know everything. You're talking out of your arse. You don't know crap, all right? And that's exactly what's going on here with CNN. They always do this. They always come out and be like, "Oh, these idiot conspiracy theorists," and then they're wrong. It turns out that they're flipping wrong. They do this all the time. I would read the article, but I'm not really interested in what whoever wrote this has to say, because I think I've expressed myself well. But let's read a bit of this. It says, the New York Times' Maggie Haberman says that it's Trump's fault that the COVID lab leak theory was made political because he refused to release the classified evidence that he and his Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, saw. Yeah, exactly. Classified evidence. Like, what the hell is wrong with her? Because he burned his credibility by being right all the time, and then he wouldn't give us classified information, so we couldn't believe him. Stupid idiot. An appearance on... Yeah. Okay, well, we read all... I mean, we watched all that. We don't need to read this article. All right, I'm pissed. I hate this woman. I hate John Berman, or where the hell his name is. I hate CNN. I hate all these people. They're friggin' horrible. They don't deserve to have even a news network. It shouldn't exist, right? They don't deserve it, and they certainly don't deserve... the positive treatment they get from social media, and I certainly don't deserve to be blocked by social media. Yeah, do I take this personally? I absolutely do take it personally. And am I a little bit pissed off about it? Oh, I'm very pissed off about it. But that's all the time we have for that story. So let's move on to the next one, shall we? This is a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Facebook has been exposed for suppressing concerns about vaccines. All right, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. So our wonderful friends, and I say friends because I am actually friends with some people over there, our wonderful friends over at Project Veritas, amazing company, amazing people, have now released documents showing that what is Facebook doing? Well, they're not just suppressing videos that suggest some kind of vaccine hesitancy. But even like comments in the comment section, like if you go to a video and you write, "I'm not so sure about taking the vaccine," they'll reduce that content on that comment. They'll put it lower on the comment section so that fewer people will read it. That's what they're doing here, right? It's mental. It's mental. So even if you're not a content creator, even if you're just somebody who's commenting on a news story or something like that, they'll reduce that. And if they're reducing your comments, which is mental.
Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.